Good morning, Bitcoiners. I hope you're doing well. Pardon the lateness. Pardon the lateness. We've got some folks in the house. We got my mom visiting. Things are just a little different than normal, but that's okay. We're doing great. We're doing great. I got my, this is from one of our wonderful Breakup gang people. I'll try and get you the, let's see what it says there. Do it this way so you can read it. Funny story about this. It was sent to me by, I have it written down, but I'll explain why I don't really know who did it. I got a note the other day from the cleaning person at the subway station near me. Someone stole my Amazon box, and the fella who noticed it had been done, they ripped open the box, they had the cup. And, just a good old Bitcoiner who's just a janitor in the place, just cleaning it up, fixing the escalators and all that kind of stuff. And he said, look, it looked like a personal thing and not someone's, whatever. Because I guess this cup had been put into a power tool box by whoever did it. The person who did it is living in Mexico from Isla Major. Isabella is the one who asked if they could send it to me. So it was sent to me. But stolen and then luckily given back. So I went and chatted with him and we had a nice time and this and that. So thank you. So that's the reason why I don't have the name. The box was all mangled by whoever it was that took it, and the person signed inside, but the guy just gave me the cup. So that's what I got. I got the cup. I got a picture of the inside. I got to go back and see. So if it was you who did send this to me, I really appreciate it. It's awesome. Thanks a lot. And I'm glad it came to me. I'm glad I was able to go to the subway and pick it up. And beautiful handmade Bitcoin cup. You'll be seeing this a lot on the show. We love it. Let's see what we got here. Everyone's saying good morning. Christine, good morning. Indeed, everyone. Thanks for your patience this morning. LFG, big week. It is big week. It sure is. We are going to love our lives this week, aren't we? John Galt, thank you for that. It's Courtney's Fellowship of Oddballs. Hello, Courtney. I hope you're doing well. Edwin, good morning, Nolan and the Breakup crew. Good morning. Good morning. We need more winning. You're not sick of winning, Ben? You're not sick of it yet? I mean, our favorite president warned us we'd be sick of it by now. I'm not quite sick of it. I could do more. Every day walking with Christ. Good morning, Nolan and Maxie's lies, coup and delusional winning. We love it. Laser eyes everywhere, aren't they? Huh? We got a new laser eye guy today. Isn't that fun? Muslim Bitcoiner, assalamu alaikum. Hope you're doing well. Crazy Kamala all day, he said. We love it. Another one you saw coming. The Switch just did not know how it would be Kamala versus Trump. Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about that a bit today. Interesting times, indeed. They are interesting. Let us just acknowledge that we've got a... Do you like my thumbnail today? I was going with, Turkey Allah King. Everyone knows what Allah means, right? Not Muslim Bitcoiner Allah, the French Allah. How would I translate that? Like the dish Turkey Allah King is turkey made the way of the king Allah. It's in the form of or something. So I was working real hard on a headline today, but I wasn't sure. Instead of Turkey Allah King, I was trying to do Come Allah Promotion. Kamala Promotion. I just couldn't get it there, but this is where the thing comes from. So I think what I went with the headline is Money Shot Promotion. I was trying to do Come Allah Promotion. I don't know. It's just funny. So that's the best I can do, Yeah, I'm only making fun of total rumors, which I have no certainty about how Kamala got the job in the first place. All right? A lot of people said, I have no idea. I have no clue. And if she did, I don't know what to say. Whatever. If she wants to get jobs that way, she can give jobs and get jobs. Whatever, it's fine. She can give jobs and get jobs. Give a job, get a job. That's what I say. So she's, well, we're going to talk about it for sure. But anyway, that's the explanation behind this. I was trying to do like Turkey a la King, and you make turkey the king way. Promotions the Kamala way. A little fun. So let me know. I couldn't tighten it. I couldn't get it there. I kept running around in circles, and I wasn't sure how much Allah is a thing, you know. Whoa, Nolan. Sorry, guys. I'm just having some fun, okay? I was looking for it. All right, let's acknowledge we've got a beautiful sunrise today. It was awesome. I caught it coming over the horizon, and it was great. And Bitcoin's running, everyone. We're doing great. We're having a good time. Yeah, freelance, A+ for effort. Yeah, thanks, Everyday Walking with Friends. Yeah, I'm not sure either. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. And first, though, we got to find out where it's hot. It's Moscow time. Let's see where it's hot today. They got some hot places in the world. So hot everywhere. This is what we got. And this is from Open Society. This is supported by. So this was a sponsored article, right? We got to make sure we see who's sponsoring these articles. You got to know the gears of the machine. All right, it's fairly important. So Open Societies. This is a George Soros sponsored article in the Washington Post. Urban heat island effect making temperatures 8 degrees hotter in 65 U.S. cities. All right. Thanks, Soros. Appreciate it. Washington Post. Did he just debunk global warming? Is it all just heat island? I don't know. We'll see. Maybe not in D.C. The Washington Post says, here's how D.C.'s scorching hot summer compares to the past. Practically every metric used to assess heat ranks among the most extreme on record. It's extreme. Where else is it extreme? The Pacific Northwest is bracing for a blistering heat wave. It's going to be blistering, everyone. Seattle is going to be blistering. That's what they say. Is it as blistering as London? London warns us last week saw the highest temperature of the year recorded this week while not... No, sorry. I got to read it British style because this is a BBC headline, okay? I made a mistake. I was reading too quickly. I'll start over. Last week, we saw the highest temperature of the year recorded. This week, whilst... It's the fucking stupidest word in the English language. Whilst. So dumb. Whilst not as hot. Whilst. All right, British people. This week, whilst not as hot, temperatures will still sit around the average for the time of year, if not a little above at times, right? There you go. But what temperature was it? After a few warmer days, most of us will have temperatures of roughly, right? What are the temperatures in London? What's the big heat wave they're recovering from and all that, right? If you don't know anything about Celsius, they're going with about 70 here, 60, high 60s. It's high 60s. It's 50 degrees up in Scotland, and it's a heat wave over there. But this is even better. Okay. Just south of London, right? It's Paris. We got the Olympics this week, everyone. And what's going to happen? Of course, it's hot. It's going to be hot in Paris. How hot? Well, they have a headline here. Bloomberg Green says, Paris is forecast to see temperatures soar as the Olympic Games shift into full swing next week. And then you click on the article, and what do you find out, right? What do you find out? Did I bring this one here? Oh, no, those are the London ones. Yeah, don't forget about the London ones. You got a couple good 70s there. So... you click on the article, heat builds in Paris before Olympics. Well, parts of Greece, what? They don't even give the temperatures in Paris. They cut right to Greece. Because if you go back and find out what temperature it really is in Paris, they'll say, oh, it might hit 80. It might be in the 80s on Friday. It's not good enough. So they had to pivot right away to Spain and Greece. Not kidding. I'm not kidding. So I really tried to find out. There's a threat it'll hit like low 30s next week in Paris. Maybe. But there you go. Heat builds in Paris, I guess. I don't know. Seems to me that was a Spain and Greece story, but who's counting, right? Who's counting? Who knows? What does North and South have to do with anything, right? If it's hot, just talk about the South. You'll get the numbers right, right? Next, we got, this was sent to me from St. Johnny Hopkins, one of our great breakup gang people. And he's talking here about the time, the time warp we're all heading into, right? It's affecting time. Remember I told you all these stories. I've been tracking the the Earth's getting fatter. So the orbit is different, right? Because the polar ice caps are melting. So Earth is getting a little fat around the waist, right? So that's causing orbital troubles. Okay, it's orbital troubles. Because of course everyone knows this, the Earth, right? It's got an axis and everything, but you know, if a little weight goes here and it should have been there, it's going to spin the whole thing out of control. We might just lose our orbit if we keep melting these ice caps. I don't know. We'll see. But here's what we know. This is they explain it all to us in Quartz. Okay, Quartz let us all know. As polar ice melts, days get longer. Okay, this is science, everyone. Mega science. Human-driven global warming is accelerating the melting of the planet's ice sheet, which is gradually making days a hair longer. They're a hair. I measure all time in hairs. Okay, I measure them in hairs. How much is a hair? It's 0.33 milliseconds. That's what they say. Which is gradually making days a hair longer by shifting the Earth's rotation, the Washington Post reported. How? When Greenland and Antarctic ice melts, the water flows from the north and south poles towards the equator, slightly fattening up Earth's surface and slowing rotation, everyone. We've slowed the rotation of Earth, okay? We've done it. This is going to screw up our block times. Bitcoin can't survive this. It can't survive a fat Earth. Fat Earth theory will destroy Bitcoin, okay? That's the number one threat to Bitcoin. It's going to fuck the block times, okay? It's fat Earth theory, okay? It's here. The Washington Post said it. It's not an Open Societies article either, guys. They have proof, science. They use science. The average day lost just 1 millisecond or less per century. Oh, okay, so it's 0.33 seconds per century. The rate has picked up to 1.33. Oh no, it's 0.33 over a century. So I think we're going to survive, guys. I think Bitcoin can handle it. So this will not kill us. We're going to be okay if the Earth gets fatter. But if you're worried about the Earth getting fatter, guess what? Your doctor's ready to talk about it, right? Daily Mail. Now doctors told to lecture us on climate change. Health leaders tell medics to look out for eco-distress and promote remote appointments to cut emissions. What they're going to end up prescribing, I know it. They're going to start saying we need Ozempic put directly into what they're, instead of, you know what they do with the fracking? You know what they do with fracking to get oil, right? They shove all kinds of water and it smashes, cracks all the shale and the stuff comes out. They're going to start doing, the doctors are going to prescribe Ozempic to the fat Earth theory. And that's going to slow time down a bit, guys. All right. Or speed it up or something. It's going to change time. Okay. The Earth needs to get slimmer. Okay. The fat Earth is going to screw things up in 0.33 milliseconds in 100 years. All right. So talk to your doctor and let's start getting a prescription for Mother Earth so that she can stop being such a fat bitch and she can get on the Ozempic and get our fucking block times back. All right. Let's go. Let's go. That's what we need. All right. Oh, this is good too. You know, all the grid changes. These are my favorite ones when it's like, guess what? We changed the grid and you got all the wind, but surprise, get ready to pay more. This is from the Wall Street Journal. Get ready to pay more for less reliable electricity. Yay, yay. As the grid becomes increasingly unstable due to age, they say, and extreme weather, they say. It's age and extreme weather. Sure. Utilities are ramping up spending on long overdue maintenance and capital improvements. There you go. That's good news. Oh, this one's awesome, guys. This was a conspiracy, you fucking losers, you stupid people, you dumb Bitcoiners, you idiots. Everyone knows, right? What is geoengineering and how it can help cool the planet. You said this was fake. Remember when you said, you said this was already, no, what was it that you said? What did Bitcoiners say about the geoengineering? It's been going on forever. And then they said, no, you were stupid because it wasn't. Remember that, right? Yeah. But now you didn't know, you were complaining about it the whole time, right? So dummies, it wasn't fake, it was real, but it's good. It's okay. It's going to help us. It's going to be great. It's going to help cool the planet, guys. You know, it's better than Ozempic. It's better than Ozempic for the planet. It's better. It's really good. We're really happy about it. These ones are fun. I told you you'd see a lot of these, right? These are the old Lord of the Rings is a right-wing psyop thing, right? This is my favorite subgenre right now. If you really want to understand JD Vance's politics, you need to crack open what they call a little-known work. It's a little-known work. It's a little-known book. You might have heard of it. Lord of the Rings, little known. Right? I'm not sure if they're being sarcastic or not. That's why I'm making fun of it. Maybe they were. I don't know. It's hard to say. All right, now we got a couple. Of course, our friend Joe Biden. We're gonna miss him. Joe quit. Joe quit. What are people saying? What are people saying? Right? We got Hunter. What does Hunter say? Hunter says, "For my entire life, I've looked at my dad in awe. How could he suffer so much heartache and yet give so much of whatever remained in his heart to others?" Thank you, Joe. Thanks for giving us whatever remained in your heart. I appreciate it. It's amazing. It's like when Justin Trudeau said, my marriage was on the rocks. I almost thought about quitting my job, but I love you people so much that I doesn't matter my marriage, whatever. I don't care. I love you. I love you people. Like Joe Biden says, right? Joe Biden and Justin Trudeau, they're the same. They love you so much, they'll give you whatever's in their heart to you. Whatever they have left, it's yours. It's yours. It's yours. People, they love you. They love you. They're great. This is my favorite. There's a historian on MSNBC, okay, a historian. His name is John Meacham, right? He reflects on Joe Biden's political and personal life, all right? So what's the historic significance of Joe Biden, according to John Meacham, right? Is John Meacham going to be writing important history books in the future? We'll see. We'll see. This is what he says. He stood against an insurrection, folks. He stood against an insurrection. Joe Biden stood against an insurrection. He stood against illiberalism. He stood against it. What a hero. And he gave the Constitution another chance. Oh, wow. That's what history is going to say, he says. History is going to remember Joe Biden as the big guy, the man who stood up to fascism. That's what they're going to say, for sure, for sure. And my last, but maybe my favorite. I love these ones. Remember I told you how fun it was going to be to have Janet Yellen on the road trying to save democracy, trying to save the Biden administration. Remember I told you how much fun that was going to be and how perfect. Who else would you rather have on that job than Janet Yellen? Whoo. So what's up with Janet Yellen? Well, she's now got to go. They got a G20 finance thing. So she's got to go, Janet Yellen, now, and she's got to explain what's going on with Biden to everyone else in the world, right? So U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen faces questions from G20 finance leaders this week over U.S. policy commitments after President Joe Biden dropped his re-election bid, and international angst grows about a potential return of Donald Trump to the White House. I wouldn't have anyone else in that job but Janet Yellen. Come on, Janet. You're going to do great. You're going to do great. Come on, go down there to Brazil. Tell them all things are going great. It's awesome in America. Kamala is going to be the president. It's going to be awesome. So there you go. There you go. That's what we got. That's our Moscow time. Now we're going to be talking about, well, I'll talk about that in a second. That's my Peter principle. We're going to be talking about promotions. How you get a promotion. How do people get promotions, right? It's a fun thing. All right. So now the great thing is with Kamala as potentially the candidate, I'm not sure she's going to make it, by the way. I'm not sure. We'll see. I mean, it looks like she's getting enough support and everything like that, but we'll see. But here we go, right? We've got... and this is what Kamala has to deal with. This is why I'm mentioning. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if she makes it. Hard to predict right now. But here's what Balaji said yesterday. So Balaji said he compared, and this is one of the big differences that you're going to have now, right? Kamala, like I said, you got Kamala out there. You got Janet Yellen trying to sell everyone on this stuff, and you got that historian that I just mentioned, right? He's going to be Biden is going to be remembered for standing up to an insurrection, not by the high IQ people, the low IQ people, maybe, the sludge people, maybe they'll be able to keep their hallucinated version of what happened intact in their heads, but only because they're so low IQ, not because they know what's going on. All the high IQ people in America now understand what happened. And that's one of the big differences that Trump has this time around, is that the high IQ people, the Mark Andreessens, the Elon Musks, the Balaji, Srinivas, and these people are willing to say out loud what's happening. You had Naval say today that the whole political thing is strong men versus what did he call it again? And I mean, it's just perfect, right? Just like a total Naval perfect situation. And this is what he says. He goes, it's the battle of masculine men and the feminine women versus the masculine women and the feminine men, right? And that's what it looks like it's happening, right? You've got this pretty big division of gender and testosterone. I think, there's a huge difference. So now that you've got people who are no longer afraid and are willing to fight, say things out loud, people like Balaji, right? This is what he says, and look how simple and clear this all becomes. He says, Balaji compared January 6th to the BLM riots, the Russiagate hoax, 51 intelligence officials lying about the Biden laptop, the Dems' fraudulent primary election, and other Dem attacks on democracy. BLM riots targeted the White House directly with multiple days of attacks, fires lit outside, and Trump had to go into hiding. That was an attack on democracy, and Democrats support it. The book was thrown at J6 people, but Kamala Harris is bailing rioters out of jail for BLM. And BLM is a much wider spread destruction across the entire country that went on for weeks and months. FBI lost count of how many paid informants were at the Capitol on January 6th and later performed an audit to figure out the exact number. The Gretchen Whitmer kidnapping plot was basically a Fed op, or there were more informants than actual bad guys. The 17 intelligence agencies lied about Russiagate. 51 intelligence officers influenced the election with a fake report that the Hunter Biden story was Russian disinformation and got it censored to change the election. January 6th was the first mob that happened to them. That's what they're mad about. All previous mobs had been blue mobs. Democrats had a Zoom call organizing the BLM riots. They could turn them on and they could turn them off. That line right there, it's a button. That's what I used to always say. BLM is a button. It's not a thing. It's a button you can turn on and you can turn it off. Just look at what's happened since Biden's been president. I guess they solved all the inner city black problems. They're all solved. Where did Black Lives Matter go? What happened? Right? We all know what happened. They were never real. They were a button. You push the button, it starts. You don't push the button, the machine turns down. Right? I've seen this before. This means Democrats essentially terrorized America during the months of the BLM into voting for us, or else we burned down the country, and many people just voted for peace. Now, I'll never forget it because I became an actual refugee. I tell people and they would laugh. Now, a rich refugee, okay, I'm not a refugee that is like, please give me some oatmeal, right? But I could not live in New York City anymore. I had to split with my whole family. It was not safe. It was the feeling of being a refugee. And we still haven't quite settled, as you've noticed, right? We are all over the map. Now, I've got a house, I've got houses, I'm fine. We're not stressed out about that, but I can't just live in one place anymore. Canada's off limits. I'm a terrorist here. America hasn't been safe since President Trump was been out of office. I haven't lived in America permanently since Trump was out of office. I did the opposite of all the mentally ill Canadians. I said when Hillary was running against Trump the first time that I would move to America if Trump wins. I was the opposite of everyone else. I was the opposite of Americans saying I'll move to Canada if Trump wins. I said the opposite. If Trump wins, America is going to be the greatest. I'm moving to America instantly. And I did. I moved to America the minute he won. Literally the minute he won, I was in America, right? All over, but we loved it, right? That's why we're there. My kids were all born in Trump's America. I was a permanent living in America type person all those years. His entire administration, I lived in America, right? And the minute he lost, I was out. I was out earlier. I was out in the summer because it was too dangerous, right? So, but let's go back to this idea of Kamala even getting the job and everything you just heard from Joe Biden, right? Or so from Balaji. So Balaji mentioned all these things about what he's describing here is what Kamala is going to have to wrestle with, right? She's going to have to wrestle with the history of the BLM thing because she was heavily involved in it. She's going to have to wrestle with January 6th. She's going to have to wrestle with Gretchen Whitmer, Russiagate, the Hunter Biden laptop, but she still got the job. All right. She still got a promotion. So she's now the candidate. Now, what this is the Peter principle. And this is all about, this is a big Dilbert thing too. Scott Adams uses this a lot. the Dilbert principle. This is the idea that everyone eventually gets promoted to their level of incompetence, right? So you've only got so much room you can go in, so much room you can grow. There's a potential ceiling on everyone, I guess. I don't know if that's a certainty, but it looks like there is. So you have a potential ceiling. And the Peter principle is that eventually in organizations, in any company, everyone gets promoted to a level at which they can no longer act competently. The reasons, the weaknesses in the system, the reasons why people are promoted are not really because they do a perfect job have the perfect skills that match the job. Usually it's one of these things. It's network, right? They know a lot of people. They're likable. There's a big opportunity if this person, does well in the job, and then it's very similar to potential, right? What's the potential of this person? So these are the factors that led Kamala to be promoted, right? That's what happened. She's got a huge network. She's got the connections to the Biden stuff. She's got all that kind of stuff. Likable. I mean, I would rather have a beer with Joe Biden than Kamala Harris personally. Like, I mean, I would love to hang out with Hunter, right? And I don't think Hunter is that different than Joe. I'm not saying I love the guy, but I would rather, if I was forced to do a Mr. Beast game or something like that, where you got to spend 5 days in a building, in a room or whatever, and I had to choose between Kamala and Joe, I'm picking Joe, right? I don't care about all of his other sniffing and all that stuff. Kamala would drive me nuts after a few days, I'm positive, right? So I wouldn't have any appetite to be around her, but I understand why some people would find her likable. She doesn't seem like a horrible person if that's the kind of shit you're into. If you want to listen to it's hot in Pacific Northwest because it's 70 degrees and we have to unburden the past and all that, she's fine, right? If you don't mind wino ladies that are sipping on the wine, she's probably great, right? Now, the potential, at least theoretically, was there. I predicted when I first saw her, she would be the candidate in 2020. I thought she would beat Biden before I heard her speak. I'd only heard her as a litigator, and she is good at that, right? She's good on script as a litigator. I'd seen her in the Senate as a lawyer. She knows how to sort of press questions and all that. She seems super good as a litigator. Once you move her out of that frame, she's probably the worst politician I've ever seen. I mean, she's just completely zero, right? But here's where things get great, right? So these are the mistakes. These are why these are the weaknesses in the system of promoting people. These are the reasons why there's a Peter principle, right? That it's these factors here that often lead to someone getting promoted. The only way to control and manage the Peter principle is through personal responsibility and organizational responsibility. So these are reactive to this, right? This is reality. This is the way it works. We know that this introduces all kinds of opportunity for mistakes and inappropriate people. If you continue to follow this formula, you will arrive at the people being promoted above their competency. Now, Kamala was promoted above her competency a long time ago. Now, the VP hides that, right? Because the VP requires no actual skills. The show Veep is the most accurate political show I've ever seen in my life. It really is, right? It's West Wing was fake. House of Cards to me is unwatchably fake. All right, unwatchable. I can't even sit in that show for a second. It's so fake. Now, I know enough people that have worked in politics, and I've worked myself in politics to know how fake it really is. I got a kid looking at me for some reason. I don't care. Go. She's telling me her iPad is out of battery. Okay. So the reasons for which people are promoted are these, and these introduce problems, which are that people get promoted using these avenues above their competency. So these factors are avenues upon which people end up being promoted beyond their competency, which is the Peter principle. The way to manage the Peter principle, the counterforce to the mistakes that these things introduce, are both personal responsibility and organizational responsibility. So as she arrives at this new level, right, as she has now been promoted into this role as Democrat candidate, and the reasons for which she was promoted were these. The only way for her to stabilize her campaign, right, the only way for her to stabilize and get some traction would be to start managing both these pieces here. So organizational responsibility on the part of the Democrat Party, Are they capable of that? Is she going to come out and say, I had some, I had some alcohol problems or whatever, and I really think that we need more responsibility, and none of this is going to happen, right? So she's not going anywhere. Not only that, already today, right? Speaking of organizational responsibility, now I don't buy any of this. I don't care about this coup thing, right? There's a coup in the Democrat Party. Obviously, if Trump had a stroke tomorrow, okay? If Trump had a stroke tomorrow, I would be lobbying for the whole thing to change. I don't care about the rules. This is beyond just the technical rules. I don't think we should have any problem with what the Democrats did by booting Joe. We've all known you can't force a political party to keep a mentally ill, handicapped person in charge. You just can't do that, right? Now, of course, you want them to take the correct way, but I mean, let's not. I think it's only really Republicans and conservatives and other people who hate Joe Biden that are totally stuck on this issue of it's a coup. The Democrats promised their base a leader and they lied, and someone else. That's all true. Now, and if there's legal restrictions on where the money goes, because that's part of the problem here, is that part of their issue is that Joe Biden already is more or less the nominee because he has delegates tied to him. He's not officially the nominee, but when money and donations are given in political processes like this, the money's attached to the corporate entity that is the campaign. So as I understand, it's not that simple to get the money to someone else. But again, I don't mind if Trump is suing them. I don't know if you saw that. Trump is suing the Biden campaign today for fraud, for raising money, even though they knew he was not doing great. Now, I would put that in the same category as with the way that Trump is with the criminal stuff with him on January 6th. Remember, he had to believe that he lost and was lying to people, right? For that to be an issue. I would put the same logic on this one, right? Trump suing them for fraud, the campaign for fraud. All they have to do is say, we really did believe Joe was going to make it to campaign day. And if that's the case, then it's not really fraud, right? If they knew that they were going to swap him out before, which I'm sure some people had the plan to do, but I don't think you'll find anyone to say that that was the actual on-plan paper, this is what we were going to do. We wrote it down. We have a contract. I don't think you'll find that. So anyway, this whole democracy thing, this is a coup. I don't really care. Maybe it is. It's not the kind of thing that gets me excited, and I'm not worried about it, right? I understand and can give, in this case, it's almost like when you're watching, some weird thing happens in a sport or something, and everyone just says, okay, it's not really fair if I, win right now, right? You give the person a little bit of breathing room to gather themselves so you can have a real fight. But here's the problem, right? Here's the problem. When we talk about, now, again, the technicalities of everything that's going on, I don't care about, right? I don't care about the technical legal restrictions about swapping a candidate. I don't mind that Trump is suing them for fraud. I think that's appropriate. But again, I'm not going to spend much of my time trying to get all you guys worked up that the Democrats underwent a coup this weekend, right? I mean, really, like the guy is mentally ill. You wouldn't stay with him. I get it. I get why you want to change the rules. And I would be the same if the same thing happened to Trump tomorrow, right? I would be absolutely, I don't care what the rules are. Let's find a way out of this. Let's switch candidates, whatever we can do to do it, right? So I don't think, obviously that's not going to happen to Trump, but I would be in the same boat. But with everything that they did this weekend to message this, right? Joe Biden is still missing. No one has seen him. People are talking about it this morning. You got Robbie Starbuck saying Joe Biden didn't tell the country on camera that he's dropping out of the 2024 race. His intern did it via a post and didn't say why. They even printed it on like plain paper, like it wasn't even on letterhead. The whole thing looks like a scam, right? He's either too sick to go on camera or he's too embarrassed that Democrat elite staged a successful coup against him. This is not normal. So again, you're going to have to get organizational responsibility, and Kamala's going to have to run this. You can't do that. She can't do either of these things. And it gets even worse, right? Because it's not just that Joe Biden hasn't given a briefing on his own self. They still haven't done one on the Trump assassination last week. She's now got to start explaining what's going on with the Secret Service, right? So we know this, that an assassination attempt was made on President Trump. There's been no FBI press briefing, no Department of Justice press briefing. House of Representatives didn't reconvene back in session. The U.S. Senate didn't reconvene back in session. Oversight sends out invitations to appear, not subpoenas. FBI director refuses the invitation to appear. Cable media refuses to call it an assassination attempt for several hours. Secret Service director refuses to resign. She might. Mayorkas says he has confidence in her. We learn the DHS replaces Secret Service advance team with DHS employees. Pennsylvania police agencies ignore their jurisdiction, blame Secret Service. That we could have seen that coming no matter what, right? 2 or 3 groups together working like this, that was never going to be, they were never going to take organizational responsibility. That was not happening. They were all going to point at the other. Maybe justifiably. Maybe they all thought they were in charge. I was in charge. He was in charge. Who's in charge? Nobody knows. That's a natural thing, right? We were told 2 snipers learned there were 4 snipers. I don't believe the 2 sniper theory, by the way. Doesn't look like 2 sniper theory at all to me. What I heard was that there's a sniper and a police officer firing back. The Secret Service sniper didn't kill the guy. The police sniper killed the guy. So indeed, there are 3 shots, but 2 to protect Trump, and it still just looks like the one otherwise, right? Look, I still believe the conspiracy inside the Secret Service, Department of Justice, FBI is a live theory. I have no proof to debunk it. Nothing that I know says that wasn't the case, but incompetence still has to be on the list, right? We don't know which one. It's either stupid or evil. We're still not sure, right? But again, they never did any press conference. So again, this is about organizational responsibility, right? That's the only way to manage Kamala Harris's promotion, which was unearned. Because indeed, she did not go through a primary, and it doesn't look like she's going to have to. We'll see. But these 2 principles, organizational responsibility, that would be like the Democrats coming clean, right? Or Kamala Harris coming clean. It's the only way to get rid of these useless reasons to promote someone. These things don't work, right? The only things that work when you get there are these 2. Getting better skills, leveling up, or having your organization compensate, right? And that doesn't look like it's happening. How did that one get in here? So there you go. Where are we here? Yeah, so it's all responsibility, right? It's all personal. Let me just get my notes. So they had no press briefing and all that stuff, right? So again, we're now left with all of the high IQ people, right? The people that are calling all this out, and you've got to get Kamala Harris now to try and fight against Balaji on messaging, Elon Musk on messaging. Elon Musk came around yesterday, by the way, guys, and has laser eyed now. I don't know if you guys all saw this, but Elon put his laser eyes out, and he banned David Bailey, the CEO of Bitcoin Magazine and the Bitcoin Conference, where I'll be speaking in 3 days. So it can be both. Yes, P-Man, it's definitely both, right? Definitely both. So, the stupid and evil, yeah. That's what it is. So he's got the laser eyes now. He kicked David Bailey off for suggesting he was going to speak at the conference, it looks like. So David Bailey got kicked off temporarily. He's back on now. But we've got people like that, right, who are going to be messaging about the intellectual and moral bankruptcy of the Democrat Party. And now they're going to go with Kamala Harris is going to be the person who's got to bring both organizational and personal responsibility to fight against all of these accusations. It's not Janet Yellen anymore, right? She can't help. It's all on Kamala Harris, which is perfect. We love it. Okay. What did I have else for Kamala, Hunter, Elon? The CrowdStrike thing I'm following. I don't really know enough about what's going on with the CrowdStrike question. Jordan Schachtel picking up saying CrowdStrike helped orchestrate the Trump-Russia hoax and is not to be trusted. They laundered their reputation and legitimacy to Hillary Clinton and the DNC's Russia hoax. I wouldn't give it too much weight to anything they're saying right now. And this is the one where everyone said, oh, there's a patch. And then Alex Jones said the patch is the CrowdStrike thing. So we'll see. I don't know anything about it, but I think we're going to see more stories come out of it. Now, I'm talking about Jordan Schachtel because Jordan is one of the people who was talking about the Trump Bukele thing that has swelled up this weekend. So what's going on with a dry run for later? Yeah. So what's going on with the Bukele Trump thing? So we got a few people here. Bowtied Ranger says the most important aspect of this whole debacle. I don't know if you guys didn't see. Trump has taken 2 shots now at Bukele from his rallies. He's been saying that El Salvador's leader is releasing criminals into America, that he's not just putting them in his super prisons in El Salvador, and that he's getting a lot of credit, but he doesn't, he says, I like him, but he should be more honest. And so everyone's all upset. What's going on? Trump, Bukele, he got all kinds of people commenting this weekend, all kinds of Bitcoiners saying, if Trump keeps this up, he's finished. We love Bukele. We love all, right? Bowtied Ranger says the most important aspect of this whole debacle is whether these allegations are true or not, right? So whether or not what Trump is saying is true or not. Bukele has done great things for his country, but it would not surprise me if those great things came at the expense of the United States. If I were the president of a high crime country, the first thing I'd do is round up all the criminals and look for a cheap dumping ground for them outside of my country. Imprisoning all of them in El Salvador is both expensive and resource intensive. So did Bukele actually ship a bunch of criminals to the United States? If he didn't, Trump needs to cut the attacks immediately and publicly apologize. If he did, Trump should be applauded for calling him out. Now, I think Bowtie Ranger is missing out a small factor here. I think this is more Trump hyperbole. And what you're seeing is Bukele arrested the ones that were in his country, but the ones running the Satanist gang that was MS-13 inside of El Salvador, a lot of the leaders probably got away. Right. I mean, I bet you he didn't get the top people. He got mostly foot soldiers. So when you see all those videos of him reprogramming the foot soldiers, I think they're accurate. But what Trump is criticizing him for is that you can't really retrain the heads of the cartels who are Satanists, who will just go find more Satanist followers. And so I think it's probably something like that. I do not believe there's any situation where, and this is what Bowtied Ranger is trying to say, where Bukele actually shipped criminals to America. I don't believe that happened. But did he declare victory even though the most powerful of the criminals were still active in America? Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Maybe that's possible. But what I actually think is happening here is you've got Trump doing something you've seen him do before, right? Which is, it's almost flirting. This is almost a Trump flirting situation. What he does is he's got to be the alpha, right? We've seen this many times, right? We've got to see this. We've seen it many times. He did it with Ted Lion. Remember Lion Ted? Remember how hard he went on Ted Cruz before Ted Cruz bowed to him? Remember how hard he went? So he can go very hard on people. I do think there is an ego thing. Let's never deny Trump has, while he can make fun of himself, he was making fun of his comb over this weekend. You got to love that, right? That he can make fun of his funny hair and all that. I've always thought he's fine with making fun of himself. But when it comes to who's the most alpha, that's not exactly the same as having enough of a healthy ego that you can make fun of yourself. I think he's just doing a big dick thing, right? And he's saying to Bukele, it's almost like negging. It's almost like negging, right? Trump is a big negger, it looks like. He loves, I got to be careful when I say these words. Not a nagger, he's a negger, okay? He negs. He's been negging. This is a negging. He's basically saying, Bukele, you're a little fat. If you were hotter, maybe I'd date you, right? If you're a little hotter, I'd date you, right? Or something, what neggers do, right? This is how, what negging is, guys. When you are purposely mean to a girl to get her interested in you, right? This is a major psychological maneuver many men use. It works. It's a very efficient and good system. One of my best friends was a negger, and he did this crazy. He was always successful. The girls would go crazy, right? They're just nuts. They hate it. So Trump is negging. This is a negging, right? I predict Trump and Bukele are going to be best friends. I mean, best friends. They're going to be the 2 closest world leaders in Trump's next administration. What's happening is he's getting Bukele interested in him. Right, he's getting, and Bukele handled it perfectly. I'm going to take the high road. I think what they're going to come down to is that it's going to cause Bukele to start saying, please, Trump, like, I do love you. Come on, stop it, this shit. And then Trump has him, right? And so what you're going to have is Trump luring this guy in to basically bend over for Trump. And it's all psychosexual, right? So, yeah, it's the pickup artist of politics, guys. Yeah, it's the pickup artist of politics. So what he's doing here is getting Bukele's attention. He's going to cause this to become this huge energetic thing. And then in the end, he's going to say, but I love him, right? I love the guy. That's what's happening. So he's going to get Bukele interested through negging, right? Not nagging, not a nagger, a negger. It's not the same, okay? Don't want to confuse those words, right? You got to be careful when you say negger or nagger, okay? You have to. So he's negging, right? All these things. Yeah. I'm not going to risk my life with that word. You got to say it. You got to say it. It's true. It's true. What's your take on Max Kaiser bashing Trump and loving Bukele? Yeah, this is part of the drama, right? This is what the negging brings you. So this is the building up of the energy, right? So Trump negs him, and now you get the how would you describe? Yeah, wingman, right? So Max is like the fat chick friend, right? you can't diss my boy, my girl. I love her, right? So she's like Max Kaiser is the fat chick, the fat chick friend, right? And he's there making sure that she doesn't get disrespect, right? So Trump will neg, and I had a meeting in the Oval Office. Yeah, so what's going on is, and I believe all of them on this, but even Max understands how this stuff works. He's going to build up the energy, and the more energy there is to it, the more potential conflict there is, the more people are paying attention, the more it will matter when Bukele finally says, oh, all right, Trump, you were right. So I predict it's going to be that. I predict what it's going to be is that it's a bit of stolen valor, right? That Bukele arrested everyone he could, but that the top people got out first. So the El Salvador gang thing has not gone away. In fact, they're still operating in America. They don't care where they get their people from, Honduras, Nicaragua, Mexico, wherever. And so America is still dealing with the El Salvadorian gangs. They just don't have a base in El Salvador anymore. Meanwhile, Bukele is going out saying he solved the whole problem, which all is true. Now, if Bukele actually did ship criminals, which I don't think happened, right? Then that's sort of what Trump is trying to allude to. That never happened. I don't believe that ever happened, right? I believe he just didn't have the capacity to arrest the people who were strong enough, who were leading MS-13 and these other gangs. And so they're still operational. Meanwhile, you've got Bukele doing a bit of a George Bush mission accomplished. It's not true. The mission, Iraq war was not over, right? It was not even close to over. So that's what's going on. This is Trump flirting. This is Trump creating attention. This is Trump setting up the romance that is going to be Bukele and Trump. They're going to come together around Bitcoin, and it's going to be beautiful. Beautiful. So Bukele pacified. Yeah, but so yes, that's what Bukele said. It doesn't matter what Bukele said right now. What we're looking at is what Trump is accusing him of, right? Trump is accusing him of shipping criminals to America. That's probably not what happened. That's Trump hyperbole. What happened was Bukele couldn't get them all. In particular, missed the strong ones, the strongest ones. So the strongest elements of MS-13 are still operational and probably based in America. And so that's probably what Trump has been heard about or has been briefed on or is getting his understanding from. That the best and brightest of the criminals from MS-13, the most Satanist people, are still in America and operational. Meanwhile, Bukele is saying he solved the problem, even though he didn't, right? Or at least didn't totally, right? There's more to it. So what's going to happen is it's not going to last. This is just Trump getting his attention. We're going to clarify. We're going to maybe even name the names of the MS-13 Satanists that have to die, right? And this is also what it's part of, by the way. J.D. Vance has already argued for this, that the U.S. military will be used against the cartels in Latin America. I've said it will happen many times on this show and elsewhere. Once we're out of the forever wars and the stupid wars that America has nothing to do with and shouldn't have anything to do with, Israel and Ukraine and all that shit, well, the war machine will come home and it will be turned on the cartels. I believe that's going to happen. I've said this from before Trump was even getting momentum. I believe this was the case already in the last Trump administration, that if you'd have won in 2020, I thought that was going to happen. And now I do continue to believe it's going to happen. You're going to have the US military turned directly on the cartels. We're going to start finding out who they are. Imagine we still don't know their names. We don't know who they are. We get every now and again, you hear one, right? El Chapo or something. There's more. So these people are going to start to become named like terrorists. And in the end, Trump is going to need leaders, because Trump is going to do this extraterritorially, right? This is not going to be like I'm asking Congress for, there's no invasion. He's going to send maybe even like pirating armies. America's got to get back into the privateering and pirating game, right? You know how that works is you pay people, mercenaries, right? So this is how America ran its security for years, mercenary armies. So whether it's a mercenary army or not, America will engage a military entity to attack these places. Not civilians, obviously, just the cartel, bases. And so Trump is going to require a Latin American leader to give him social cover, so it doesn't look like a North country beating up on a South country. And he's going to have to build some kind of coalition. And most of the leaders are too corrupt, right? That lady in charge of Mexico, you're not going to get anything from her. She's owned. You're not going to get anything from most of these leaders. Bukele will be his tacit approval of attacking Latin America with the U.S. war machine and what's left of it, whatever still works, right? The drone, if we've got to rebuild drones or whatever. Indeed, do pay attention to the J.D. Vance vice presidency. You've got, what's his name, RFK talking about J.D. Vance being a CIA candidate. Not exactly true. Peter Thiel's number one client is the CIA. That's true. But what they're betting on is the changing cost of violence. They don't expect the war machine and the industrial military complex to perpetuate the way it was. They're there for risk mitigation. They're there to disintermediate the way the war machine worked. They're much more interested in like the El Segundo stuff of individualized drone armies. They understand the mathematics of violence of change. So indeed, they're betting on the U.S. war machine not being the same constitution as it was at one time. They're not the same consistency, a different thing. So they are using the CIA as a client, that's for sure. And in many ways, J.D. Vance does represent these people coming, but they're betting on disintermediating the CIA. Not the same weapons, not the same tactics, not the same machines, not the same goals. It is not about the petrodollar anymore. It's not about U.S. hegemony to spread democracy around the world. We're not doing any of these things. In fact, they don't believe in democracy. You understand that all, right? J.D. Vance, Peter Thiel, these are not people who are interested in democracy. You've got to not try and say they're trying to like do those things, because they're not. These are not those people, right? These are people who believe in a type of monarchism, which I'm not far from believing in as well. So that's what's going on with these guys. We've entered a new period of whatever the Republic of America is. And if Trump is a type of Caesar or something, then that's the way we're headed, right? But that's what these guys are arguing for. Nothing to do with the preservation of things as they are, which was kind of the old CIA and deep state mandate. So Kennedy is right to say J.D. Vance is doing that, but J.D. Vance is probably more interested in creating a drone swarm army run by video game nerds to run down to Mexico and shoot them all with drone guns, So that's how I see it anyway. Let's see. Bukele pacified the country. Yeah. This is why we come to the breakup. Indeed. Guatemala, Ecuador, Nicaragua. I think Veterans Cannabis is saying, yeah, Jose, they will. Yes. America's going to turn them all into vassal states. All of them, Latin America, all of America is about to become vassal. Is also not the right way to think about it. They're going to become part of the American contract, but DC will be diminished anyway. So the overburden of the federal government within the American vassal states will be different. You're going to have a reawakening of states' rights, and that's going to be enough for these states to be able to operate independently, but within the American compact. That's what will kill Canada. Canada is actually going to die because America is going to make a deal that will allow Canadian provinces to enter. It won't be a tax deal. It's not going to be anything like that, right? There's not going to be a federal government to finance. We're getting rid of this stupid thing. It's over. It's done. The Chevron, Jarkissi, everything we've been talking about here from a Supreme Court point of view is going to give the mandate to rip apart the federal government, and it has to happen. It's going to happen. And so what you're going to get is a deal that actually doesn't bring a lot of obligations towards the federal capital and DC. There's no federal tax that's going to be levied, nothing like that. So it's going to get them out of tariffs is basically what they're going to be after. Out of tariffs, easier flow of humans, and America opens up to be a new way to join America that will be maybe even more sovereign than it is now. You could probably even keep your own, hockey team or soccer team and still be America. So I can't imagine that stuff's going to change too much. It's just the way power is shared and what responsibilities the federal government takes on. It'll be one of these Monroe Doctrine, if you protect us, we'll go after you. And indeed, this is the other thing about the negging, by the way. Bukele's got a side piece China broad going on, right? And that's real. Right? We all know that, right? You have to accept that. As much as we love Bukele, he's got a side piece with a Chinese thing happening. All right. And I hate the CCP. I love China. I have no problem with most of their diplomacy. I'm a big, I lived in Japan and Korea. I'm all over. I love going to Asia. I'm a big fan. I don't suffer from a type of Orientalism that makes me blinded by China's imperial ambitions. I'm not worried about that, right? I don't want CCP in my life at all, and I hope they fall apart, and I predict a revolution over there, but I don't want their government influencing too much about what's going on over here, I don't think. I continue to hope as many Chinese people as possible come over, but I don't want the CCP operating out of El Salvador. I don't want that. So when Trump comes out and says this stuff to Bukele, I think what he's setting up is, you gotta break up with that broad. You gotta come over here and work with us. So that's what I see. Bitcoin Deb says, have you seen Whitney Webb's take on Peter Thiel? Yeah. Again, Whitney Webb, this is what I have to say about Whitney Webb, right? She's like Alex Berenson. You need these people. You need someone who is suspicious of everybody and does it as a hobby and a pastime, right? She seems to love these webs, Whitney Webb, right? She loves the webs. She loves going in, figuring it out, and figuring out what's going on. I have no facts to dispute against her. I just think that her overall view doesn't really leave a lot of room for heroes, and now that just could be the sentimental side of me, right? But again, what I said about Peter Thiel and his biggest client being the CIA, that doesn't mean he's into perpetuating the CIA that killed Kennedy, right? It doesn't mean that. It means that maybe there's a faction inside the CIA that says, hey, we can't keep doing this. And I believe there has to be, right? It's just a human nature to say, well, I don't know, right? There's always dissidents and there's always people who don't agree. So what I think you're going to see, so I don't want to be anyone out there saying that don't listen to Whitney Webb, she exaggerates. That's not what I'm saying, right? I say she's mostly wrong. My bet is she's mostly wrong, but the time she gets it right, it's worth it. You need someone who's constantly skeptical, like an Alex Berenson. And again, I don't agree with much of what Alex Berenson says, but I love the guy. I think he's wrong about most of it. Kennedy himself is wrong about most of his stuff. Again, I've never said I believe in Kennedy's scientific outlook. I believe that Kennedy asked the right questions. I don't think he has the right answers, right? That was enough for me. So Whitney Webb is the type of person who's asking the right questions. I don't need her answers. Her answers are not what I am interested in, right? Her answers are inherently skeptical because she's at the edges trying to figure it out. And that's what we're all doing, right? We're all trying to figure out what's going on. So I will never say that someone who's doing this as a full-time job has it totally wrong, even though I don't think she has it right. So I'm a Although I can't mind read Peter Thiel, my vision, whether it's quaint or stupid or naive, leaves room for heroism. I think he's trying to be a hero, and I think that's what's up. So, are we in the heroes? We sure are. You know, that's not only are we in the hero's journey. I mean, just look at what Trump. Look at Trump's comeback. Look at the comeback. Look at this comeback story. How much do we love a comeback story? You know, I was talking with Barry Silbert when we were in Texas. You know, he'd just gotten a lot of bad stuff happening in his life, right? A kid with cancer, and it was just awful, right? And he had Letitia on his ass, Letitia, you know, the same one that's after Trump, Letitia James in the New York AG. It's a $1 billion fraud. No, it's a $2 billion fraud. So anyway, we were hanging out in Texas, and I said, Barry, you know, everyone loves a comeback, man. You're ready for a comeback. I'll help. You know, if you need my help, I'm ready to do the comeback with you, because I was with you when we were starting. I was with you when we were on top. Since I left, it hasn't gone great, but I would help you. I love a comeback story, and I think you have an opportunity to do the comeback. Now, that's just, you know, one thing on now you say Trump is the real comeback kid. Hold on, this is where I'm going to disagree with you. Trump is, but this is not Trump's comeback, guys. This is our comeback. This is our comeback. Okay? The people who loved him, the people who believed that the 2020 was stolen, the people that believed that Bitcoin was the answer to all this stuff, the people that never stopped saying, you know what? The money is what's fucked up. How stupid did we look in 2022 when Trump was at his lowest? Would Trump be anywhere now if it wasn't for our comeback? Our comeback. This is us. Trump is a vessel for it, as he often says. Now, he stayed in the game, but if we weren't there to receive him, if we had stopped, the whole thing would be over, right? It's our comeback story. So we can say Trump is the comeback kid, but that's not what's happening. This is the comeback of the Bitcoiners and the people who were kicked to the curb in 2020 and 2021 and 2022. And in 2022, when it was a joke to do what we were doing, when we destroyed SBF and we exorcised the cancer and we took organizational and personal responsibility for what was going on, and we slit fucking throats. We killed people, killed them. I don't mean literally, but destroyed their careers, right? And we were willing to do all of that stuff. And where are we now? Bitcoin's back, and we're about to become world reserve currency. Trump is out there talking about de-dollarization now, right? And he's negging Bukele because he wants Bukele on his side. It's our comeback. It's ours. And that's what's going on here. Trump has ridden the wave amazingly, and greatness found him with the assassination, right? It found him. And so, but if it wasn't for us, never giving up on this, realizing there was a way out, and the way out was Bitcoin, none of this would have happened. None of it would have happened. If Trump hadn't have found Bitcoin even, none of this would have happened. He was on his way. The lawfare was bad, but you were still stuck in this quagmire of, it's the Bitcoin thing, guys. It's our comeback that is making all of this possible. So Trump and us together in this incredible comeback, just think about someone like me, all right? I've been sitting here since 2014, long Trump, long Bitcoin. Well, 2015 Trump came around, but I've been, Bitcoin 2013, 2014, quit politics. Trump comes in and makes me think twice about quitting politics, because I'm like, this guy's so cool, but it's too much chaos. I see he's starting the mental illness stuff. I don't want to be called a Nazi again. I had enough of that under Harper. I just want to make money and work on Bitcoin. Politics are done to me. They're just not going to work. We're not going to solve any problems here. We're doing the Bitcoin. But then, right, I'm still believing that the shock of him getting, remember, it's never his policies. Aaron McIntyre wrote that this weekend. It's never his policies. It's how angry he made the established system, right? It's how much confusion he brought to it. It's how much destabilization he brought to that whole thing. Let me see if I have this quote from him here. It was a very good one. No, I don't think so. I don't think I got it. But that's what it is, right? So let's see if I have this. It was a great quote. That's why I wanted to share it. Hang on. No, I don't have it. It's okay. Must be on my Twitter. So, yeah. So Trump, we don't. It's not because he has the best ideas. It's because of how much chaos he brings to the system. That was always why I loved him, right? That he broke the previous system. There was no way around it. And so when I was sitting there in 2015, 2016, and everyone, 2015, he's going to lose. 2016, Bitcoin's stupid. Trump. Imagine, first of all, right, if he didn't win the first time. He won the first time. Everything went crazy after. Bitcoin had a big pump. Hillary, I don't think it would have happened under Hillary. So it started to work the system. But then we suffered again. We failed again, right? The 2018, 2019 crash. Then we jumped up again, and then the election was stolen. We rode it out a little bit and then down again. And since then, we looked done. We looked cooked. Trump looked cooked too. Think of the pleasure. Think of what we've waited for all these years. And think of the comeback that think about the ride we've been on, right? Think about what we were talking about 2 years ago right now on the show and how dark things looked. This is our comeback, guys. This is what we're feeling. And it's not just Bitcoiners, right? It's the Republicans who were maligned, the Trump supporters. But the orange coin and the orange man are becoming the same thing. So it's the same comeback trajectory. And by combining forces the way we are, it's done for the sludge people. They can't survive this. All right, team. That's all I got. We went a little long today. I appreciate it, everyone. I shall see you all tomorrow. And then we will not be meeting on Wednesday because I'll be on my way to Nashville, Tennessee to see President Donald Trump. We love him. Hopefully we get to spend some time with Max. And again, don't worry about this Trump Bukele stuff. This is all negging. This is all it's flirtation. World leader, alpha male flirtation. That's it. Yes, Vivek orange pilled Trump. Yes, that's my understanding. Yeah. Vivek did that. Yeah, that's my understanding. All right, team. Peace.